And hey guys, we are back with some Capo II here on Twitch TV that will be going on YouTube and blah blah blah. So, I mentioned this in the YouTube video I just posted, but there's a tie right now between Anzu and, I was about to say Akane, Anzu and Yume, so I guess that kind of means that I'm going to be the decider. And I basically think that we're going to do Yume's route because, as I mentioned there, I don't really care for Anzu's ending very much, even though I like the route in general. So, yeah. And in order to go towards Yume's route, we have to do the haunted house. The puppet show will lead us to another trio of heroines, which includes Anzu. Which, you know, naturally, because she's the one who put together the puppet show, so makes sense. Haunted house. I want a haunted house, I guess. There was no significant meaning behind my decision. I had no intention of helping Suginami, but I thought it would be an interesting concept to host a haunted house in the middle of winter. Sighs and joyous roars filled the classroom. However, they started complaining about the haunted house immediately. Sorry.
それでは我がクラスのクリスマスパーティーの出し物はお化け屋敷とします。準備期間があまりないですが、皆さん頑張っていきましょう。
Thus we decided to host a haunted house for our last event at the affiliated academy. And I opened a soda. I left the classroom as soon as homeroom ended. I headed to the principal's office. I wasn't called in for doing something bad. Well, I have been called in for that before, but not today. I had something to deliver. Knock knock. Excuse me. I didn't hear any response after I knocked. Maybe she's out. I turned the doorknob and it was unlocked. Maybe she just stepped out for a few minutes. I guess I'll wait inside then. The room was decorated in Japanese style, unsuited for the principal's office. Every winter there was even a kotatsu there. I heard an animal crying, so I looked in the middle of the room and saw a strange creature. This creature's name is Harimau. This dog belonged to the principal. It doesn't look like it, but I think it's a dog. At least its owner said it's a dog. Yo, Harimau, where's your master? Harimau became playful while swinging his huge tail, even though it didn't look like it was supposed to belong to a dog. He's so friendly and cute that, oddly enough, I didn't care whether he was a dog or not. Hey, stop. Don't lick me. Maybe you want that. Harimau is a strange dog. He loves Japanese sweets. Ain't that a coinky-dink? I give him Japanese sweets all the time, so that's why he loves them more than most others. Okay. Here, I'll give you some, so calm down. Sit! Harimau must have understood what I said. He stopped being playful and sat down. Although the principal is his owner, this principal's office is Harimau's den. I've seen him outside on occasion, so there must be a secret exit somewhere. Hang on, I'll get it out now. As I talk to him, I try to communicate, or concentrate on my right hand. I try to communicate with my right hand. It's not working. Here! The next moment, a dorayaki appeared in the palm of my hand. I did it. Look, it's a dorayaki today. This is a strange part of Capo that I don't really get why it's even really a thing. Like, basically in the original Capo, the main character was also able to use, you know, an itty bitty bit of magic, and he was able to create Japanese sweets. In this game, the character is able to use an itty bitty little bit of magic and is able to make Japanese sweets. I don't really know why they felt the need to hang on to that little trope, but they did, and, well, here it is. I had a guy, Meyer Truck, I believe, comment on the last video, basically saying, yeah, the Capo II, or rather Circus, really reuses a lot of their ideas in their games, and he's definitely not wrong about that, because, like, why, like, what was the point of carrying that forward? But I digress. It's a thing, and it's the Capo. Good boy, nice appetite. In fact, I could use magic. A long time ago, someone taught me this strange power. Who could it be? It's the power to make Japanese sweets appear in my hand. It's too fairy tale-like to be called psychic power, but it's too meek to call it witchcraft. That's the type of magic I have. The only time I can think of my special ability being useful is when I can help hungry people. Eating it myself doesn't really make much of a difference. Harimao was one of the few friends who appreciated my magic. Although he is a dog. I heard the door open and saw a small figure come in. And this is where fans of the original The Capo were like, eee! Probably the first time they played. Yeah, so this is Sakura, and she was a character from the first game. But she had a really big role in the first game, and here, rather I should say she was one of the heroines in the first game, and one of the two main heroines, I guess I would, if I had to classify, them in terms of importance. So, yeah, this game she's not a heroine, but she kind of has like one of the most important roles for the side characters. The side characters that really kind of have a big role, in my opinion, I would say, are Sakura here, your friend Wataru, and Suginami. And Sakura is one of the most important to the plot, though depending on the route you take, Wataru can be another really significant character. Suginami is usually just more of a background, third-bit player. That's okay, I let myself in. This woman, who looked like a little girl, was the principal of Kazumi Academy, Yoshino Sakura-san. My, how things have changed. Because of her adorable and young appearance, people who have visited the Kazumi Academy had a hard time believing it, but she is our principal. From what I've heard, she holds several doctorate degrees. Appearances can be deceiving. As he made a happy noise, the dog-like creature jumped onto Sakura-san's head. I guess this is Harimao's place to be. Oh, don't worry about it. I just happen to have one with me. She smiled at me. I've asked her age before, but she just told me that it's not polite to ask a lady her age and dodge the question. Ah, by the way, here it is, the paperwork you forgot. It was left on the desk. I handed her a big envelope full of paperwork that she'd left at home. She is super genki. Repeat line. Don't let that happen again. Totally unfazed. The fact is that I live in Sakura-san's house. Therefore, Sakura-san and I are like family. Actually, she is like my guardian. Okay, I'm going back to the classroom. But class is starting. How could she say that as a principal? No, I'll be scolded. That's not the point. I sure will. I shrugged my shoulders and left the principal's office. I stretched as I heard the bell. I turned around and saw Suginami standing with a meaningful smile on his face. Sure, I don't care. How about you, Wataru? I called over to Wataru, who had his face down. Oh, I'll enjoy my sweet alone time together with Suginami. He waved his hand without lifting his head. He was completely lethargic. Don't say something so sickening.
ろいろといけない想像が。ねえココちゃん。なんで私に聞くの？だってココちゃんそういうの好きじゃない。そんなことないよ。自分の欲求に素直になる、それが一番よココ。だから違うってば。
So that's the kind of thing that Coco's into. Behind us, the three girls, Sutsugeka rather, are having their own fun. What are they thinking anyway? So, where are we going? The cafeteria or the store?
まあ黙ってついてこい。とっておきの場所に招待しよう。
He grinned and walked out of the classroom. Okay, I'm coming. I followed Suginami. So, how far are we going? We changed into our shoes at the entrance and went outside.
なーに、ちょっとそこまでだ。
We passed through the school gate, crossed the street lined with cherry blossom trees, went through the park, down a rough road, and the next thing I knew, we were in a dense forest. A dense forest? Where are we? Oh, Suginami. There was a gaping entrance to a cave in front of me.
いやー、昨日偶然にこのホラー穴を見つけてな。
He spoke proudly and loudly.
見てみろ、こんな僻地にひっそりと口を開けるホラー穴。周りはツタで覆われ、入り口には有刺鉄線、そして侵入禁止の立て看板。明らかにここ数年誰も足を踏み入れてないことが推測される佇まい。どこからどう見ても何か秘密が隠されているとしか思えない素敵スポットじゃないか。
What about lunch?
飯
The stare off.
貴様はこの素敵スポットを目の前にしてそんな言葉しか出てこんのか。見損なったぞ桜井。
I love that line. I'm hungry. We glared at each other. I felt stupid, so I stopped glaring. What's the point of glaring at Suginami here? That won't fill my stomach, and since we're already here, I don't have much of a choice but to go along with him. I don't know how to get back anyway. I might as well get it over with quickly. Oh well, come on, let's go in.
ああ、さすがは舞倒し桜井、分かっているではないか。
I just want to get it over with so we can eat lunch. What are we going to do with this? I touched the barbed wire fence that was fencing off the entrance.
これを使え。
I don't know where he took it out from, but Suginami held a wire cutter in his hand.
常に七つ道具は携帯しておく。世界の常識だぞ。
Clearly. What kind of common sense is that? What tools does he carry around anyway? We cut the barbed wires with the wire cutters. Here we go. We proceeded into the cave. I made Yoshiyuki very chipper there. Here we go. Yay! We took out a flashlight. Or he took out a flashlight.
その2だ。
The dim light of the flashlight faintly lit up our surroundings. This is bigger than I thought. My voice echoed deep in the cave.
これは当たりだな。
What did we find?
わからんか。この予感、この気配、この奥には間違いなくあいつが存在する。
He? Is he talking about Nessie? No, this is Hatsunjima, so it's Hassie.
これでヌーの関東特集は俺のものだ。
I walked with Suginami, who was totally excited about this. Our footsteps echoed. The path seemed to head downhill. It went on further than I expected. I started to feel dampness in the air. Still, who would have expected such a big cave to be on this island? This would make anyone excited, not just Suginami. The excitement I felt was similar to when I played in a secret fort as a child. I couldn't help imagining something was actually hidden deep inside the cave.
まだまだだな。同志桜井よ。不思議なんてものは案外すぐ近くにあるものだ。
Strange things, huh? Come to think of it, the everlasting cherry blossom tree is strange. I'm so used to it now that I don't even feel like it's strange.
この世界には 皆が思っている以上に不思議が溢れている。幽霊、UFO、ユーマに未来人、そして未知のホラーな。それに気づくか気づかないかはまあ本人次第と。
The flashlight lit an open area.
どうやらクライマックスみたいだな。
At the end of the path, we came out to an opening that was like a big room.
素晴らしい!
Suginami exclaimed. The room was about 20 meters by 20 meters. The walls looked man-made. The ceiling was high. What's that? In the middle of the room, there was a box that was big enough to hold a person. There was something extending from the box to the ceiling. Suginami.
ああ、ついにご対面だ。
We slowly approached it. As we got closer, we could see the outline. It was a rectangular box with rounded corners on what looked like a glass lid attached. There was a pipe coming out of the side of it, and it was attached to the ceiling.
なるほど、そうきたか。
Suginami clapped his hands. What do you mean by that?
わからないのか。あの形状、このシチュエーション、思いつくことは一つだろう。
No, I don't get it at all. Suginami looked at me as if he was looking at a pile of trash. Even if he looked at me that way, I still didn't get it. Besides, don't expect me to think the same way as you do.
コールドスリープという言葉を聞いたことはないか。
Huh? Cold sleep? Do you mean from science fiction novels?
そうだ。生きた人間を冷凍し、未来に目覚めさせる技術だ。得てしてカプセルが利用されることが多い。
Are you saying there's a cryo-preserved human in there?
その通り。
Don't be ridiculous. This isn't a game or comic book. How could that be possible? I can't believe he would even go that far.
まあ、確かめてみればすぐにわかる。
We came close to the capsule. Suginami lit the inside of the capsule with the flashlight. This can't be true.
現実だ。
But there was a girl sleeping in the capsule. She was like a doll. This is too strange, isn't it? I couldn't help but stare at her. When I looked carefully, I could see her chest faintly moving up and down.
どうやら生きてるみたいだな。
This must be a joke.
冗談で片付けたら、この子がかわいそうだ。
But I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that there was a girl put into cold sleep here. How ridiculous. This isn't a game.
しかし、呼吸をしているということは、コールドスリープではないようだな。
Is that so? But when I thought calmly, that made sense. This isn't some fantasy setting. She's simply sleeping here for some reason. It was more natural to think that way.
ということは、ハイバーネーションの可能性も。
As Suginami mumbled, I looked at the girl again. She had navy blue hair and well-organized facial features. She was beautiful. She gave a somewhat mysterious impression. She had a small figure and cords attached to both of her arms. The cords extended into the pipe.
どうやらこのパイプを伝ってどこかに接続されているみたいだな。
Suginami looked at the ceiling. Who's this?
さすがに俺にもわからん。
What are we going to do?
そうだな。とりあえずは。
He walked around the capsule. As he walked, he examined it.
どう、桜井。ちょっとここを見てくれ。
Suginami pointed at the capsule, or pointed at the capsule, I think is what they meant, but when he reached the opposite end. What is it? I went around and looked at it.
ここに何やら文字のようなものが書いてある。
Writing? I bent down to look at it closely. Click! Ah! My knee touched the capsule. I felt like my knee pushed in something. It was like I pushed a switch.
どうした、桜井。
I just felt something odd on my knee. Suginami lit my knee area without saying a word. My knee was touching a switch-like bump on the side of the capsule. A red light was flashing. The rhythmical beeping continued. What are we going to do?
まあ押してしまったものはしょうがない。なるようになるだろう。
Is that it?
深刻になったところでどうしようもあるまい。
He was right. What do you think this is?
さあな。まあ考えられるとすれば。
The beeping stopped as if its work was finished. What can you think of?
こういうことだな。
I followed what Suginami was looking at. The girl inside the capsule. Our eyes met. I see. Just the outcome we expected. The girl was glaring at me. Her fists were shaking. She raised herself up. Quickly, at that. Wait. Slam! A nice sound rang out, okay? The mystery disappeared instantly. The glass lid rattled. No, I didn't. Is it my fault?
難しいところだな。
No matter how I looked at it, it didn't look... I didn't think it was my fault. The girl was trying to work something inside of the capsule. With the whir of a motor, the glass lid slid open to each side. The girl clicked her tongue loudly as she got up. Her forehead was red. Are you okay?
貴様か?
What?
貴様が水を起動したのかと
起動だとということはもう
部外者は黙っていろ
She gave him a sharp shout.
なぜ水を起動した何が目的だ
Her voice was low, and she was suppressing her emotion. She was looking at me with eyes full of hostility. The air around us had started to get tense. Oops, sorry about that. I came into the cave out of pure curiosity and accidentally activated you, and my knee bumped into the switch as I bent over. If I said that right now, I'm sure she'd kill me. I'd better choose what I say very carefully.
ただの偶然だ。かがんだ拍子にこいつの膝が起動スイッチを押しただけだ。
You idiot! My voice cracked. Why are you telling the truth?
そうか膝がね
I'm as stupid as him. It was too late to regret it. The girl slowly raised herself out and stood out of the capsule.
偶然にだと
She stretched and cracked her neck. She took a fighting position while holding her fists tightly.
ふざけたことを
Wait a minute. Calm down. Let's talk, okay? Please?
人間風情と同じ時間を共有しなければならないと考えただけで虫唾が走る
I'm sorry for pushing the activation button. I really am. But I don't think being violent solves anything. Right? Don't you think so too, Suginami?
すまない。部外者は黙っていないと怒られてしまうもので、その件に関してはノーコメントとさせてくれ。
Damn you.
覚えておけみなつはこの世界で嫌いなものが2つだけある1つはバナナそしてもう1つは人間だ
Naturally, of course bananas. The girl came closer to me.
みなつはずっと眠っていたかったのだそれを無理やり叩き起こした挙句偶然だとそれで済まされると思っているのかこれだから人間ってやつは
She swung her right fist. Please, violence is wrong! I heard her fist cut through the air. At the moment, her fist came within an inch away from me.
そこまでよ
A sharp voice rang out. Ah! Swoosh, slam, tumble, tumble, tumble. My body flew in the air and rolled to the ground.
どうやら間に合ったようね
I don't know who you are, but no, you didn't make it in time. I stood up, holding my throbbing cheek, and looked in the direction the voice had come from.
HM A06 型みなつ。
The calm voice belonged to a woman accompanied by several tough-looking men. Mikazoshi sensei? She was Mizukoshi, not Mikazoshi. I always want to call her that. Mizukoshi Mayaka sensei from the nurse's office. Why is Mizukoshi sensei here?
はあ、あんたたちだったのね。こんなおいたしたのは。まったく。
She gave a sigh of amazement. Sorry.
まあいいわ。で、お目覚めはどうかな、みなつさん。聞くまでもないだろう。最悪だ。ごめんなさいね。私たちとしてもあなたを起こすつもりはなかったの。でも起きてしまったからね。
Mizukoshi sensei gave a signal to the men behind her, and they closed in on the girl, surrounding her.
誰も逃げたりなんかしない。そう。素直で助かる。それじゃあ連れて行って。
Understood. Then the men took the girl away, keeping her surrounded. What's going on? There was a strange capsule in a cave, a girl was sleeping inside of it, and when the alarm surrounded Mizukoshi-sensei sounded, not rounded. Type HMA06? Minatsu? I'm totally confused. Calm down. I need to organize the information first.
貴様、なんという名前だ?
Eh? My train of thought was broken when she suddenly spoke to me.
若か貴様は、みなつは貴様の名前を聞いているのだ。
Sakurai Yoshiyuki.
桜井か。その名前、覚えておくからな。
She glared at me. No, you don't need to remember. The men continued to lead the girl away.
まったく。入り口の立て看板が見えなかった？立ち入り禁止って。
The no trespassing sign said no trespassing? No way!
それに有刺鉄線を厳重に張り巡らせておいたはずだけど。
いえ、俺たちが来た時には鉄線は切り取られていました。立て看板には気がつきませんでした。
Suginami lied without hesitation.
それよりもさっきの子は HMA06 型とか言っていたように聞こえましたが。
しょうがないわね。彼女はロボットよ。HMA06 型。開発コードはみなつ。
A robot? I was so surprised I screamed. Well, I didn't scream, but oh well.
ええ、そうよ。
But she was full of emotion for a robot. It's true the robotics have reached amazing standards nowadays. I've seen a robot called Moo that's for sale now, and it sure does look like a real human. But I didn't know a robot that could move and talk with such emotions actually existed.
確かにあそこまで見事に人間らしさを持ったロボは見たことがないな。
あの子は特別なの。だからここで眠らせていたんだけどね。まったく余計な仕事を増やしてくれて。
I'm sorry.
そうね。悪いと思ってるんなら一つ仕事を手伝ってもらおうかな。さ
Sure, if there's something I can do.
それじゃあ後で放送で呼び出すからよろしくね。ということでとっとと帰りなさい。授業始まっちゃうわよ。
Mizukoshi-sensei clapped her hands to make us leave. Okay, we'll be going. I bowed to Mizukoshi-sensei and started to walk.
あ、そうそう。さっきの出来事は全部忘れなさい。
She spoke to us as we walked away. She spoke quietly, but sharply.
これはお願いじゃないから。このわかるでしょ。
もちろんです。
それならいいわ。
What was that anyway?
簡単なことだ。ホラー穴の中に最新鋭のロボが保管されていた。それをお前が起動してしまった。
Thanks for keeping us up to speed, Suginami. What about Mizukoshi-sensei? Why did she come?
さしずめ本職は研究所の職員ってことだろう。副職として教師をする。さして珍しいことでもない。
Sounds like an everyday occurrence to me. I guess it's something like that too.
それにしても素晴らしい体験だった。あそこまで生々しいロボを目の当たりにできるとは。
Suginami talked excitedly as he remembered what happened. I know. I touched my cheek that was punched by her. I bet I'm the only person on the entire planet who has been punched by a robot. That doesn't make me happy at all, though. Let's see. Ah!
どうした
The time! Look at the time! We only got 5 minutes left until class starts.
まあということで少し走るぞ
Fool! What about lunch?
諦めるんだなその分貴重な体験をできたんだ結果的にプラスだろ
Damn it! Give me my lunch!
別に俺が奪ったわけじゃないから返したくても返せんな
Shit! I'm so hungry, I'm out of energy! I burned more of what little energy I had left as we ran back to school.
おい次全校集会だぞ体育館
I'll pass.
アホなこと言ってないで行くぞ
I'm starving. I don't want to move. I spoke with my face planted into the desk.
そういや昼休み何があったんだ杉並はすげえ興奮してるしお前は頬晴らしてるし
I don't want to remember. I got punched by a robot and missed my lunch. My cheek is still throbbing. Was that girl really a robot? As I thought about it calmly, it sure sounded dubious for her to be a robot. How could a robot have such a lively expression, or such lively expressions, and punch a human autonomously? It had to be impossible. I felt like Mikazoshi-sensei was working on this massive prank. Well, I'll probably never see her again, so I really don't care.
何があったか興味はあるけど今はとにかく起きろいい加減先行くぞ
Okay, okay. I lifted my head. My stomach growled. Then my eyes met Anzu's eyes.
なぜかこんなところにお昼の残りの焼きそばパンが。しかも私はお腹いっぱい。さて、どうしたもんかな。
She walked up to me while speaking in an intentional monotone. She had a menacing grin on her face. She showed off the yakisoba bread. It was obvious that she was trying to provoke me. Damn it. Don't underestimate me, Yukimura Anzu. I'm the man who was taught the ways of statesmanship since my birth, so that I may one day stand to bear the fate of Japan. Do you really think that you can provoke me with mere yakisoba bread? Don't make me laugh. Please, call me dog. Woof. That was an obedient bark.
お前プライドってもんがないんか
Oh, Yoshiyuki, you are a silly, silly bitch. Wataru spoke in amazement. Fool! Pride won't fill my stomach. This is capitalism in action.
資本主義は関係ないと思うが
お手、
I gave her my right hand.
おかわり。
I gave my left hand.
待て。
It was a perfect display of acting. I'd do anything for yakisoba bread.
チンチン。
The classroom went silent. Okay, so this part, I explained this in my sort of, little video I did of Capo before, but let me explain it again. And this is just what I like. I believe this is the case. I'm not 100% sure about it, but what she said there, I believe, is a double entendre. It can also mean dick. So it could be something dirty, basically. Just think of it that way. It could be something dirty, or it could just mean something like beg me, for a dog. So in that context, people are like, what did she just say? Yeah, what did she just say? When I looked at Anzu's face, she wore a merciless grin.
ほら。ち、ん、ち、ん。
She said, spinning sweetly dominating words. The classroom murmured. Wataru was doubled over next to me.
もう、アンズダメだよ。
Coco came over with a beet red face.
そうだよ、アンズちゃん。チンチンとか言っちゃダメ。あかねも言わないの。なんて？だからチン。
Everyone in the classroom looked at Coco.
言わないもん、そんなの。ココが何を想像してるかわからないけど、犬の芸のことだから。ココちゃんは想像力豊かだからね。ちなみに諸説あるけど、芸の方の語源は てるらしいわ。ココが想像しているようなものとは全然違うわね。
Anzu shared her knowledge of trivia. That must be thanks to the Yukimura memorization method.
だよね。違うよね。一体ココちゃんってば何を想像してたんだろう。
What a team. Coco's face was beet red, and she was confused. Their attention turned to teasing Coco. Actually, it was kind of fun looking at this. My stomach growled.
はい、おたで。
Are you sure?
もともとココのだし。ココちゃんがヨシユキくんのために買っておいたんだよ。
Thanks, Coco. You're great. Thank you, Coco.
もうみんな知らないんだから。
Coco's droopy eyes were filling up with tears. Scene change. Inside the gym, it was rather noisy with the roar of students. The whole gym was packed full of people. It was more full than usual because both the students from the main and affiliated campuses were gathered here. So what's today's assembly about anyway?
決まっておろう。クリスマスパーティーに向けての連絡事項だ。
もう来週だからな、
I see. So what are you doing this time, Suginami? I'm sure you're plotting something, aren't you?
今のところは企業秘密だ。ただ、過去最大規模の祭りになる。とだけは言っておこう。
何すんのも勝手だけど、俺を巻き込まないでくれよ。
Same here. After we told them off, we faced forward.
ただいまより全校集会を開会します。
A voice echoed from the PA system.
まずはじめに先生方からいくつか連絡事項があります。
The voice was very clear and firm. I looked just below the right side of the stage. An energetic-looking girl with short hair was there. She had a bright smile. It was Kosaka Mayuki-senpai. She was, I think they meant a sophomore at the main campus, just like oto-nee. She was the vice president of the student council. She was very popular among the students because of her active and friendly personality. However, I wasn't a big fan of hers.
はい。では次にクリスマスパーティーについての連絡事項があります。生徒会長の朝倉乙女さん、お願いします。
Now we have to deal with Little Miss Perfect. Everyone in the gymnasium paid attention to the stage. She slowly made her way up to the podium. Her long hair fluttered.
それでは私の方から連絡いたします。
I am not a fan of oto-nee. Her soft voice echoed.
例年通り12月23日から25日にかけての3日間。一般の方へも公開を行うのが23日、24日の2日間。25日は学園関係者のみの高野祭となります。
Her words continued smoothly.
なな、やっぱり乙女先輩っていいよな。もうたまんねえよ。ルックスよし、成績よし、性格よし。優しくてしっかり者で、その上料理もうまい。
準備期間としまして、来週の月曜日から午後の授業時間を。
This is the part of the game where everyone compliments oto-nee for like 20 minutes. It's like,
すげえいい匂いがするんだよな。俺、乙女先輩の匂いで飯3杯は軽くいけるね。これマジで。
That's kinda creepy, dude. Shut up, Wataru.
うんだよ、別にいいじゃんかよ。俺はお前と違って遠くから眺めることしかできねえんだからよ。
とは言っても、授業の一環として行われる行事です。各人とも節度を持った行動を心がけるよう注意してください。
ああ、俺も乙女先輩みたいなお姉ちゃんが欲しいよ。ヨシユキ、やっぱてめえ羨ましすぎんぞ。
I call her my older sister, but she isn't my real sister, though. Of course she isn't.
ますますいいじゃねえかよ。ちくしょう、俺も美人姉妹のいる家に居候してえな。
Wataru groaned behind me.
それでは皆さん、楽しいクリスマスパーティーにしましょうね。
oto-nee smiled at everyone. Her smile made us all feel warm. I heard sighs from everywhere in the gymnasium. It's like, you're laying it on thick, guys. The sighs came from all the fascinated guys.
あー、やっぱたまんねえよ、乙女先輩。あー、くそー。
Slam! Ouch! What was that for?
うっせえ、お前はこんくらい甘んじて受ける義務があるんだよ。
The guys around us nodded with him.
家に帰ってから求め先輩に会えるなんて羨ましすぎるぞお前。
He's right. All the guys agreed with Wataru. Their eyes were bloodshot. There's nothing I can do about that. Can't you see?
これだから恵まれてるやつってのはチキショー。
Slam! That hurts! The all-school assembly ended, and everyone lazily filed back to their classrooms.
やっぱり
Or file,
憧れる
probably.
な乙女先輩。
だよな。なんつうか最高のお姉ちゃんって感じ。
That's why I dislike Otome, though, is like, she is the, Little Miss Perfect of the game, and I find those kinds of characters, those Mary Sue type of characters, kind of obnoxious, so, yeah.
頼りがいあるし、優しいし、
We get it!
綺麗だし。
We got it! Everyone really likes her.
ああ、羨ましいなこの野郎は。
You've already said that. Quit saying that already. Thank you! The narration agrees with me.
そうすればだね。
Akane pointed ahead of her. There was Oto-nee, surrounded by a crowd of students. President, what should we do about the navigation and the safety issues regarding crowding?
その件に関しては明日の会議での議題とします。時間までに叩き台の作成をしてください。
Okay, I understand.
Otome-senpai, to make the announcements over the PA work more smoothly during the party, I think we should talk to Broadcasting Club.
あ、放送部の部長さんと話はつけてありますので、あとは現場サイドで打ち合わせを行ってください。
That's my uber nerd voice.
I understand, Otome-senpai.
Asakura-san, regarding the ingredients for the temporary cafeteria organized by the cooking club.
昨日業者に発注を行いました。来週の火曜には届く手はずになっています。詳しくは真由紀に確認してください。
Okay, I'll check with Kosaka-san. Everyone asked her one question after another, and Otome answered each one efficiently. However, the number of students surrounding her didn't decrease. She looks as busy as always.
クリパまであまり時間ないから。でもすごいよね。テキパキと仕事をこなしていって。
なんつうか完璧？理想？最強？
全然気取ったところとかないしね。誰に対しても平等だし、ほんとかっこいいな。
We get it! Everyone was praising her, no kidding. I could totally understand what everyone was saying. Oto-nee was surely an ideal older sister.
例外はあるけどね。
Anzu muttered quietly. She's right, there is an exception. My eyes met with Otone's eyes. Her eyes opened widely. Then Oto-nee smiled.
弟くん、みっけ。
Wah! It was too late. Before I could do anything, Oto-nee ran up to me. Of course, she's the fawning older sister. Oto-nee panted as she stood in front of me. She was smiling so sweetly, her smile could melt me.
ああ、ほら、ちゃんとホックする。
She came closer to me and reached for my collar.
しょうがないな、弟くんは。
She was so close to me. Her sweet scent tickled my nose. It was just like a newlywed going, "Dear, your necktie isn't straight. Whatever would you do without me?" Wait. No, that's too tight.
ダメだよ。服装の乱れは心の乱れだよ。ちゃんとしないと。
She buttoned up my collar as she spoke to me.
はい、これ。
Oops. She looked satisfied.
あとは。
I'm fine. By the way, are you sure you should be doing this now? Aren't you in the middle of working?
大丈夫、大丈夫。
She answered immediately. This isn't okay at all. Can't you feel it? Everyone is looking at us. Damn it, I envy him.
Hey, is there something going on between them? The rumor is that they're brother and sister. What? Brother and sister? That doesn't sound right, does it?
Shit, Otome-senpai's mine.
I could hear people talking about us behind our backs. I felt so uncomfortable.
あ、そうそう。弟くん、この後なんだけど、時間ある？
She tilted her head. Everyone got quiet all at once and tried to listen in. All the male students looked at me, anticipating a proper response. You better not say anything stupid. I know. Sorry, I have something I have to take care of.
そっか。じゃあしょうがないね。残念。
She drooped. How dare you disappoint Otome-senpai? What the hell do I say then? Somebody help me, please.
ほれ乙女仕事するよ。ああまゆき
Thank God for you, Mayuki-senpai. I saw a halo above her head.
愛しの弟くんの世話を焼くのもいいけど仕事も片付けないと。あでもじゃない。ほらみんな待ってるんだから。ってわけで乙女借りてくね弟くん。
Sure, go right ahead. I waved my hand.
あ弟くん
Mayuki-senpai grabbed Oto-nee by the collar.
今日も晩ご飯作りに行くからね。一緒に食べようね。
Oto-nee delivered the final blow to me with a smile as she was dragged by Mayuki-senpai. The air around me froze. I felt hands on my shoulders. Wataru-sama? His hands were grabbing my shoulders so tightly, they were about to crush my shoulders.
なんつうか時間はたくさんある。たっぷりと話し合おうじゃないか。
The guys around me nodded at the same time. I guess this is the final curtain on my life. Anzu gave a sigh of amazement from next to me. Oh, Oto-nee. Damn that Wataru. It was already getting late when I checked the time on my phone. After that, Wataru and the guys interrogated me about Oto-nee, and I was finally free just a little bit ago. Brr. As soon as I left the school's entranceway, the temperature suddenly plummeted. The cold wind blew on me, and I huddled up. And yet, I saw the pink scenery ahead of me. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom. Cherry blossom trees surrounded the academy, and their petals were flying everywhere in the air. Yes, this is the scenery of spring, there's no question about it. The scenery and temperature don't match. I couldn't help complaining. Of course, that wouldn't change anything, though. But I just couldn't help it when I faced the gap between the temperature and the scenery I saw. On this island, the cherry blossoms are in bloom all year long. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. All year long. The cherry blossoms bloomed as if they were crazy. According to the weather forecast, today's high temperature was supposed to be 0 Celsius. People could enjoy blooming cherry blossoms in the freezing cold during the middle of winter. At least, it was possible here on Hatsune Island. Of course, nobody would even try to do something that crazy. I walked with my hands in my coat pockets. This is a perfect day to stay home and keep myself under the kotatsu. I looked ahead of me. As I approached the school gate, I saw a bored-looking figure leaning against the wall. And this is Yume! Is that Yume? She checked her watch and then looked up at the sky to inhale white puffs of breath. She hugged herself in order to stay warm. The ribbon on her uniform was swaying in the wind. She looked very cold. What is she doing in this cold weather? I walked up to her quickly. Hey, are you waiting for someone?
Eh?
Yume turned at me with a surprised look.
あ兄さん奇遇だね。
She smiled a bit. This isn't a coincidence. How could I miss you if you were standing right here?
そんなことないよ。この世の中に絶対なんてことはないんだよ。
That's philosophical. Yume bounced away from the wall she was leaning against.
まあそれはいいとして今から帰り
Yeah. Are you meeting with someone?
いやたまには兄さんと一緒に帰ろうかなとか思ってさ。
I see. Okay, see you tomorrow then. I gave her a refreshing smile, said goodbye, and walked past Yume. Gah! My collar was grabbed from behind. My body was forced to turn around.
いやたまには兄さんと一緒に帰ろうかなとか思ってさ。
She was smiling. It was a scary smile. See, I find the interaction between these two a lot more fun than, Yoshiyuki and Oto-nee, who is, just newlywed couple type vibe. What's that look for, ma'am? I couldn't help but speak politely. My voice cracked at the end.
お腹がすいた。
Huh?
だからお腹が空いたんだって。なかなか兄さんが出てこないから結構待ったし。暇だし寒いし雪降りそうだし知らない男の子には声かけられるし、最悪だったよ。だから責任取って。
And none of that is my fault.
あ、なんでそういうこと言うかな。こんな寒い中わざわざ兄さんを待ってたっていうのにさ。
I didn't ask you to wait for me, did I?
む、
You just want my money, don't you?
そうだよ。それ以外に兄さんを待ってる理由なんてないし、兄さん的にも見返りとして可愛い妹が一緒に帰ってあげるんだから安いもんでしょ。
Why are you stressing the little sister part? A cute little sister, huh? I'm not saying Yume isn't cute. Even if I wasn't her family, she would be in the cute girl category. According to rumor, there's a secret fan club, and besides that, she's oto-nee's younger sister after all. But her personality is...
あ、今とても失礼なこと考えませんでした？
And of course, she's oto-nee's sister, so they aren't actually brother and sister, which is, of course, again, with the Japanese and their whole love of the, big and little sister thing, but they're not actually related, that type of thing. But I can't say much because Yume is my favorite character, so yeah. Of course not, ma'am. I answered immediately. Just so you know, your true colors are showing. Yume faltered just a little.
大丈夫だよ。周りに誰もいないし。
She looked around.
それより兄さん、お腹すいた。
She spoke sweetly. Her voice could melt anybody with a thing for little sisters. Her voice was such sweet temptation, anyone would give in. However, I wouldn't. Nowadays, an older brother's job isn't to spoil his younger sister, but instead to be firm with her. The era of spoiling sisters has ended. So, I spoke with firm volition. I'm terribly sorry, but I, Sakurai Yoshiyuki, I am working on being a firm Japanese citizen who can say no when I need to.
に、い、さ、ん、食べさせて。
What would you like to eat today? It was a quick attack. I love that whole little part there, that banter. It was a total defeat. All that build up and then just, he melts. I hated myself for my weak will.
クレープ。桜公園のクレープ屋さんに新しいメニューが出たんだって。ほら、早く行こう。
She turned around and started walking without waiting for my reply. I guess this was how a girl with a patron behaves. I should have known.
ほら、早く来ないと置いてっちゃうぞ。
Yume turned around ahead of me. That's fine with me.
あ、そうやって逃げるつもりなんでしょう。
Yume turned around and walked back to me with a pout, and then grabbed my hand. I felt her soft hand.
往生際悪いんだから。ほら、行くよ。
She pulled me behind her. I won't run.
兄さんの言葉は信じられません。
Don't you believe your own brother? I'm so sad.
そういう態度が信じられないんだよ。
She looked the other way. Besides, if someone saw us like this, they would think we were in love.
ほら、早
What
く
a line
行
there,
くよ。
Yoshiyuki.
とっとと歩く。
She held my hand even tighter. Her hand felt so warm in the cold winter air. Then she dragged me along and forced me to go with her.
おいしい。
Yume wore an expression of bliss beside me. Just watching her being happy made me feel content. As if. Don't eat too much. You won't be able to eat dinner.
大丈夫。甘いものは別腹だから。
You'll get fat.
それも大丈夫。私太らない体質だし。
Don't underestimate the power of calories. A body that never gets fat is merely an illusion of the common people. The moment you let your guard down, you'll come to regret it.
いや、実績ありますから。
If those women who were having a hard time trying to lose weight heard her, she would be in big trouble.
兄さんは何も食べないの？
What and how do you want me to eat? I held up my hands. Of course, there was nothing in my hands. On the other hand, Yume had a crepe in each hand. Fresh raspberry crepe. Strawberry ice cream crepe. Both of them were financed by my wallet. Both of them were being consumed by Yume. This is a prime example of how irrational the world is. All I had for lunch was yakisoba bread. A certain someone somewhere is eating my share.
そっか、それは残念だね。でもじゃんけんに負けたんだから自業自得だね。負け犬だもんね。
Ouch! She smiled at me. Damn. I couldn't say anything. Like a howling dog, I looked up at the sky. It was winter and the sun went down early. It was already getting dark. The wind felt even colder. My wallet was feeling sadly empty as well.
もうしょうがないな。はい。
A sweet smell reached my nose.
じゃんけんの弱い兄さんにも一口あげるよ。
I saw a half-eaten crepe in front of my face. That's okay.
遠慮しない。い
Compassion is not for the benefit of others.
や、それ御用だから。
We'd be kissing indirectly.
兄弟なんだから変なこと意識しない。
Ugh. Yume shoved the half-eaten crepe into my mouth. I tasted the whipped cream sweetness in my mouth. The tangy raspberry sauce provided an accent against the sweetness.
ね、美味しいでしょ。
Yume looked into my face with satisfaction. Yeah, this is tasty, but I have whipped cream all around my mouth.
ラッキーだね。舐めると甘くて美味しいよ。
I stuck my tongue out and licked it. It tasted bitter, like defeat. Bitter defeat, curse you! We walked slowly down the dim cherry blossom tree-lined street. We heard kids' voices here and there. I guess kids don't mind the cold winds when they play.
兄さんってほんとじゃんけん弱いよね。
Huh? What are you talking about, girl? I lost on purpose. I did it because I'm a good big brother.
へえ。じゃあ一定の法則でチョキ出すのってわざとやってるんだ。
Of course. News to me.
へえ、ほー。
Oh, man. What's that doubtful expression for?
いや、私はてっきり気づいてないと思ってたから。
Of course I did. Come to think of it, I always lose with scissors. Damn it. I didn't know my own weakness.
じゃあ次からはわざと負けないでいいよ。
Yume smiled at me provokingly. Don't regret saying that. I'll win. Our eyes met.
あれ？
Yume looked away.
確かこの景色。
She stopped and looked around. What's the matter?
ちょっと待って。
Yume went through her bag and took out a notebook.
と
She flipped through the pages. What is it? Did you come up with an embarrassing poem or something?
そんなわけな。
Yume turned around. Hmm?
兄さん、危な。
Slam! Ouch! I felt an impact on the back of my head. My neck bent forward at 90 degrees. Instantly, I saw flashes.
ちょっと遅かったか。
I heard a ball bouncing behind me.
I'm sorry.
A kid ran up and collected the ball.
見事なヘディングだったね。
I didn't know how to respond to that.
まるで後頭部に目がついてるのかと思ったくらい見事だったよ。
I still didn't know what to say.
ついでに大丈夫？
I guess my condition wasn't her priority. I still felt dizzy. I rubbed where the ball hit. I didn't feel a bump. I should be okay. I don't feel a bump either. I shook my head lightly.
本当に大丈夫？
Yume felt the back of my head.
大丈夫そうだけど、一応後で冷やしておいた方がいいよ。
Yeah, maybe I should.
それじゃあ帰ろうか。
Yume put the notebook back in her bag. Are you done?
何が？
Your poem. You usually jot stuff down, right?
してません。
Then what was that notebook for?
いや、内緒です。
Whatever. Although she said that, I was sure it was a book of poetry. Or maybe she was jotting down some embarrassing stuff like this or that.
なんか兄さんからすごい嫌なオーラを感じるんだけど、
You're just imagining things.
なんか兄さんの顔がすごいにやけてるんですけど。
It's your imagination. We headed home as we talked. Scene change.
弟くん、みりん取って。
Here you are. The smell of something good wafted in from the simmering pot.
もう一味かな。
Here's some soy sauce.
ありがとう。
Oto-nee added a little soy sauce to the pot to adjust the taste. She scooped a little sauce with a ladle to taste. Huh, no voice there. That's weird.
はい、弟くん、どうかな。
She brought the ladle closer to my mouth.
あ
Don't say that. I took a sip of the broth. I tasted just the right amount of soy sauce and mirin mixed in the sauce. It tasted perfect. Yeah, this is great.
ー、よし、完成。
Oto-nee turned the stove off and smiled.
お魚の方はどう？
It looks great. I answered as I looked at the grill. Oto-nee and I were fixing dinner. This was nothing unusual for us. Oto-nee's house was just next door, so she usually came over to my place and we'd fix and eat dinner together. We'd spend some time together after dinner and then she'd go home. Since I moved to the Yoshino residence half a year ago, this has been happening almost every day. I didn't mind it at all. Hey, Yume, get some plates ready. There was one more. I told Yume, who was probably relaxing in the living room. She replied lazily.
ゆめちゃん。いや、冗談ですってば。
Yume sluggishly dragged herself into the kitchen. She was wearing a jersey shirt and glasses, aka totally relaxed wardrobe. She looked so different from when she was at school.
いや、それにしてもお二人さん、お似合いだね。新婚さん？何言ってるのよ、ゆめちゃん。やだな。
Oto-nee fumbled with the edge of her apron while standing next to me. Why is she being bashful?
妹としましては、仲の良いお二人の至福の時間を邪魔してしまうのはいかがなものかと、ちょっと考えてしまうわけでして。
Of course you do. Okay, that's enough. Get some plates ready.
はーい。兄さんはノリ悪いな。
Dinner was served on plates Yume put out. Cooked potatoes, grilled salmon, steamed rice, and miso soup.
そんな新婚さんだなんて。
Oto-nee was still off in her own world.
それで弟くんのクラスでは何するの？
We're doing a haunted house.
お化け屋敷ね。なんかそれっぽいね。確か弟くんのクラスって兄さん、杉並さん、板橋さんの三バカ勢ぞろいだね。お化けでしょ、暗闇でしょ、そして三バカでしょ。
What is wrong with these sisters? They keep saying the Three Stooges in front of me like I'm not there. By the way, don't put me in the same category as them.
でもね
They looked at each other and nodded. Objection!
え、いや、却下。そうだね、実績があるからね。悪ってことでエッチなのはダメだからね。
She put her face up close to mine. What is she saying? She's the student council president. How can we do anything sexual at an academy event?
だって弟くんだもん。
What is that supposed to mean?
そうだね、兄さんだしね。
Actually, I didn't say what does that supposed to mean? Don't agree with her.
暗闇だしちょっと心配だよ。生徒会長さんとしてはしっかりと監視しないと。
They didn't trust me at all. Well, Oto-nee was right in her suspicions, because the things she worried about were close to what Suginami and Wataru were planning. I have a feeling that Suginami is planning something more, though.
まあでもお姉ちゃん的には助かるんじゃない？要注意人物が一箇所に集まってくれるんだもん。監視が楽じゃない？そうだね。戦力を一箇所に集中できるのは大きいね。
A counter me planning meeting continued before me. But I don't remember doing anything that infamous, though. Actually, there had been one time when I caused a huge problem.
基本的に杉並くんには真雪がマンツーマンディフェンスだから。ってことはやっぱり兄さんだよね、もう。
I continued to eat the rest of dinner while feeling dissatisfied about the whole thing. I stretched as I laid in my bed. When I looked at the clock, I realized it was already late. Maybe I should go to sleep. Just as I closed the magazine I was reading. Knock knock. I heard a knock on the door. Come in.
やっほー、元気？
My landlord came in excitedly, despite the time of day. Her golden hair bounced. Well, I was about to go to sleep.
テンション低いな、吉行くんは。
No matter how many times I've seen her tiny body in those gestures, it's hard to believe that she's my guardian. How old is she anyway?
なになに？僕の顔になんかついてる？
No, I was just thinking you were able to come home today.
思ったよりも早く片付いたから。
That's our principal. She put a smile on her face that would make anyone happy. Isn't your job tough?
そうでもないよ。そうそう。それよりも吉行くん。
Yes?
一緒に大岡さばき見ない？全26話。帰りにレンタル屋さんで借りてきたんだ。
No thanks.
うわ、即答だよ。冷たいな。
I have school tomorrow.
いいじゃん、休んじゃえば。
Gosh, here comes another inappropriate comment from a principal.
勉強なら僕が手取り足取り教えてあげるよ。学校で習うのよりもずっとすごいの。
Coming from a person with multiple doctorates, her words carried weight.
だからほら一緒に見ようよ。
She sure doesn't look that way at all, though. You still have work to do, right? And besides, oto-nee will be angry.
そうだね。乙女ちゃん怒ると怖いし。じゃあ今日は一人で寂しく見ることにするよ。
She looked disappointed, but smiled right away.
それじゃあおやすみ。
Okay, good night. The door was shut, and I heard her footsteps go away with her humming. Sakura-san. I looked out the window. Through the crack in the curtains, I saw cherry blossom petals fluttering in the air. Well, I guess I'm going to sleep. I turned the light off. What kind of dream am I going to have today? I let the Sandman take me away. Where are we going? I walked as Sakura-san led me by the hand. I saw her golden hair in front of me. Her twin pigtails swung as she walked.
いいところだよ。暖かくて賑やかでご飯がいっぱい食べられるところ。
My stomach growled when I heard her mention food.
お腹すいた？
She turned around and smiled. It was a very warm smile. It highlighted her blue eyes. I remembered her name, but I couldn't say it because I was a little embarrassed.
さくらだよ。吉野さくら。
I didn't know if she knew what I was thinking or not from how she looked at me. Directly. That's why I looked away. It wasn't because I didn't like her looking at me, but I was just embarrassed. But my behavior disappointed Sakura-san, and she looked sad. I messed up. I regretted it. I didn't want her to look sad. Her hand felt warm in mine. She rescued me when I was standing on my own in this cold weather. That was why. That was why I was trying to be brave. Sakura-san. I'm sure my face was beet red. I spoke very quietly, but... She showed a bright smile.
やっと名前呼んでくれたね。
She looked so happy. She rubbed my head. That made me feel even more embarrassed, but I didn't mind it. When I saw Sakura-san being happy, it made me feel happy. It was just as simple as that.
じゃあ行こっか。
Yep. I nodded in response to Sakura-san, and this time I walked next to her. The howling wind was still cold. Our breaths were still white. However, I felt so warm inside as we walked the cherry blossom-lined street. And and I assume that's when he moved in with Sakura, because originally he lived with the Asakura family. Anyway, yeah, probably see more of that later as the game goes on. But I'm going to cut off the stream here real quick for YouTube purposes, just so it'll make it easier for me to split up the video. But I will be right back in like 2 minutes. So, yeah, if you would like to stay and watch more of the stream, I won't be long at all. Right back, guys.